Welcome to 365 Days of Meditation and Prayer Time. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader at Columbia Center for Spiritual Living in Columbia, Maryland. Today is May 10th. Good is forever expressing itself to me as I seek and find the best in life. And the scriptural reference for this morning is the book of Luke, chapter 15, verse 18. Thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Our reading begins. Realizing that we are in the midst of an ever-present good and believing that there is a law that brings everything good into our lives, we should learn to think and act as though every wrong condition of yesterday were converted into something new and better today. I believe that all the mistakes that I have ever made are swallowed up in a love, in a peace, and a life greater than I am. Therefore, I surrender all past mistakes into the keeping of this ever-present divine and perfect life. I affirm that love is guiding me into a real and deep cooperation with life and into a sincere affection for everyone. Today is a fresh beginning, a new start, a joyous adventure on the pathway of eternal progress. Today is bright with hope and happy with fulfillment. Therefore, I affirm that this is the day that God has made, that it is good, and that I find fulfillment in it. There is something that is making everything in my life simple, effective, and whole. There is something that is arranging every circumstance so that success and happiness will come from it. There is something in me that goes out in love and confidence to everyone I meet, something that blesses everything I touch, something that brings peace and joy and comfort to my world. In every thought, in every deed, in every act, I am sustained by an infinite power and guided gently into an increasing good for myself and for others. So let's take that into our time of meditation and contemplation. Life. One life. One source, one substance, one breath, one peace, one power, everywhere present. This is what I understand God to be. The ever expanding, ever present, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient power of life. One eternal, ever present beingness. And that it is its beingness that is responded to by the law of it as the doingness, manifesting in the form of it as creation. By whatever name I call it, it is beyond a name, indefinable. The wholeness of it, the infinite reality of it, incomprehensible to my human brain and understanding. And yet something within me recognizes itself being made out of it. I must contain it. I must literally be made of it. And so that is the recognition of the self, recognizing the self beyond the thought of me is the reality of life as me. And so the wholeness, the completeness, the perfection of life itself lives, moves, and has its being as my life. It is my life. I am living its life. It is living my life. It is a symbiotic reciprocity that is truly the activity of one, never two. I am never separate from it. It is never separate from me. And so I accept that I understand in this human realm, and I know in the spiritual realm, that I give voice to my understanding through finite words and language. And I experience the knowing of myself, my divine self, my whole self. In those inarticulable spaces and moments and experience where I simply know the oneness, the wholeness of life. of the unchanging that expresses ever changing diversity. That there is a place within me that gets it because it is it. There is a place in me that is so familiar with the reality of a changeless, absolute one that expresses in multiplicity, that is never used up by its expression of itself, but rather expanded. That the more it gives, the more it expands. And I take that in at this human level. And I allow it to challenge every thought I have about holding on, about collecting, about hoarding, about any sense of retaining rather than giving. I remind my human self that all needs have always been met, and that it is only my perception of lack that creates it, that makes it so. And so I look to creation itself. I allow the example of giving to permeate my awareness in this human level, to saturate every cell of my physical being with the satiation of wholeness that understands that there is no thing to hold on to, that it is leaning into the law, to law of circulation, to the pattern of circulation, to the activity of circulation. Whatever human words work to help us understand, it is the circulation. It is the circulation within my body, within my affairs, within my money, within my food, the elimination system of my body, the very breathing in and breathing out. All the activity of circulation. And so I allow myself to be aware of the balance of giving and receiving. That I do both in equal parts, never designed in my head to get, but to simply be, to be in life, which is a process of circulation. To give is freely as I receive, to receive as freely as I give. To allow the very breath of my body to remind me, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, giving, receiving. At whatever level is the natural order of life. And I choose awareness this day. I choose to be aware of where and how I give. I choose to be aware of the motivation of my giving. And I choose the same with my receiving. I choose to be aware of receiving versus taking. And I choose to be aware of whatever thought, whatever idea, whatever belief is the underlying motivation so that I am clear and clean in simply participating in the process of giving and receiving, of circulation, in the harmonious operation of one, free of any have tos, free of any sense of fear, free of any idea of lack or limitation. And I allow myself to understand that this physical body is a perfect center of elimination and assimilation, of giving and receiving. That it is the physical storehouse of energy. And I choose to listen to the body. I choose to work in harmony with the body. I choose to allow the emotions of the body to be the emotions. I choose to attend to each organ, each system within this amazing system, systems within systems, God within God, bodies within bodies, within the body. So I choose to listen. I listen to its signals. I listen to its guidance for how best to care for it. No longer concerned about society's conditioning. I return over and over again to the truth that I already live in a perfect body, within a perfect body, that is the perfect body of one infinite being. That no worldly standard can establish what is correct for any expression of the infinite. That is truly an inside job, and I lean into allowing myself to be aware of what that is in each moment. I care for this center of spiritual living just as I care for a community called the Center for Spiritual Living, just as I care for an organization called the Center for Spiritual Living. I care for this individualized center. And I ensure that I am living spiritually from spirit as spirit in every interaction. And as I do, peace and calm are the order of my experience. There's a surrender, a softening as I realize there is no thing to fight against. All God, all the time. And what is true of me is true of all. And so I surrender. I let go. And I celebrate. I celebrate the word of the infinite spoken, impressed into the activity of itself, called law, the doer within the whole. A simple aspect of the one, never separate from itself. That life has imagined itself anew this day, has spoken it into being as this affirmative prayer, has received it in the activity of itself called law, and has already acted upon it to make it so. It is already done. It is that immediate because everything is always in now. There is no past or present, no future, no present, really. There's just now. And everything is happening now. And so I confidently release any idea that there is anything that this human being needs to make happen. And in place of the idea of making anything happen, I move my intention and my attention to being aware of what has happened. And I surrender anything in me that would resist following the path that is laid before me, and I claim my courage. I claim my awareness. I claim excitement to follow the journey wherever it goes. The journey of the self becoming aware of the self that has always been. I say yes to however, wherever, whenever. I say yes. And as I say yes, I feel the celebration. I feel the gratitude. I feel the peace express itself within me, signaling to me that yes, 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 that reciprocal yes, it is done. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is.